The iPhone Air has surprised me, but who's it for? And more importantly, is it for you? Is it just a case of style over substance, or is it actually a serious contender? I'm David, and this is D Talking Tech. I've been using the iPhone Air pretty much since it came out, and in fact what I've done over the last couple of days is come on a road trip with it. I wanted to really put it through its paces and find out what it's all about. More importantly, show you what it's all about. So you're going to be pretty hands-on with me through the course of this video. You're going to see how I've got on a 2-day trip with it, and see, importantly, how the battery life stands up and what the camera is like as well, because those are two of the big questions that keep coming up about the 17 Air, and you're going to find out all about them through the course of this video. I'm going to cut in sections showing you my trip up yesterday, where I regularly broke down and showed you where I was at with the battery, to give you a real hands-on experience. I wanted it to be as real as it could possibly be. So it's not my normal kind of video, but hopefully it'll give you a really granular look at what this phone is like to use in a real-world environment through the course of what turned out to be a hard 8-hour day.
It is just before 11 o'clock on Monday morning, and the iPhone Air is ready to go on its road trip with me. I'm heading there, Apple Touchwood Centre, which is a couple of hours drive from me. If I stop at service on the way, I'll let you know. It's paired up with the car now, so I'm going to be using this for sat-nav, streaming podcasts and streaming music. So I'll let you know how the battery goes. You can see it's 93% at 10:52. So you'll be seeing this through the course of the day. It still feels absolutely gorgeous. I'm using the 17 Pro Max to record this on, picture in picture. As you can tell, I'm loving the way you can move that around as well. That is so cool. And also, iOS 26 CarPlay. Doesn't that look lovely now? It really does. Anyway, I'll get my toes and I'll let you know how we're getting on with the iPhone Air on the first part of our road trip.
Now, the first thing I found out is this thing is gorgeous. You cannot put it down. Whether that's going to be part of its undoing or not, I don't know. With the always on display and the fact that it's so gorgeous to hold, maybe the sort of people that are going to buy this and use this are going to find that the battery runs down quicker than normal because you're constantly wanting to hold it and fiddle with it. Nothing can prepare me for how good this felt. Now, bear in mind, I had a dummy unit for almost a month. I've got the iPad Pro, which is the same sort of thinness as this. Nothing prepared me for how good this feels in the hand. I've held and used this more than my 17 Pro Max as I've had it, simply because it feels absolutely gorgeous. There's something about it. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping it's not a case of style over substance. I'm hoping that the phone can actually perform for what it needs to do. And from my early tests, certainly, it seems that it has.
I did indeed have to stop at the services, so a quick update. Hour and a quarter in, 70 minutes in, and we've used only 10%. And in that time, it's been used for NFT, for paying for stuff at the service station, and for fuel, and of course streaming some podcasts, and also for sat-nav. So I think 10% in 70 minutes isn't bad, but we'll find out what it's like as we go along. It's still... I love that titanium rail, I really do. Anyway, next stop will be at the Apple Store in Birmingham, and we'll see where the battery's at then.
If you've watched any of my recent videos, you'll know that I was concerned about what it was going to be like switching from a physical SIM to the eSIM. I'd always push that tin down the road. I didn't want to do it. I had fear. I'd had that SIM card for more years than I'd care to let you know, and I was worried about giving up. But in all honesty, it was really straightforward. I believe it to some degree comes down to who you're with. In the UK, I've got 2 accounts running. My main SIM, which is in the 17 Pro Max, I'm recording this on now, in the native camera app, by the way, using the audio from the AirPods Pro 3. On that phone, my main account is an EE account, and that switched over within 30 seconds. Totally seamless. It all happens during the setup of the phone. It's really, really straightforward to do. What happens if you want to swap the eSIM between handsets? I don't know. I'll worry about that at a later point. The SIM card in here that I had to swap to an eSIM, that was with Vodafone. That took maybe 2 minutes, a fraction longer, but again, it was absolutely seamless. So if you're worried about swapping from physical SIM to an eSIM, don't. Honestly, it was really, really straightforward. The titanium on here, now, of course, it's important because it's strong, but not only is it strength important, it's also grippy. That really highly polished feel to it that's going to be tested on those hands. The highly polished titanium frame is really, really grippy, so it never feels like it's going to fall out of your hand. So that's something I will say, that isn't just style over substance, that is actually important. Yes, it's strengthening the phone, but also it means that it just feels really, really secure in your hand. There is one design fault that I've come across that I'll mention later on, but on the whole, that titanium, again, just adds this premium feeling. It is, I can't get over to you how gorgeous it is to hold and to use. I want to mention the colours. or the lack of. This is supposed to be blue, believe it or not. Now, when I got it out of the box on Friday night, I actually had to go over to the box and check that it was the blue that they sent me, because it is so pale, it is so insipid. Whereas I just got the 17 Pro Max out in that cosmic orange, it's bright and strong. This is really, really weak. At best, you'd call it a powder blue or a duck egg blue. It's really, really pale. So if you want strong colours, go down to the store and have a look, because certainly the blue isn't going to please you if you want a strong colour. But that's kind of the only downside I've found about it at the moment. The call quality on the phone has been brilliant. Now, of course, if you watch my videos during the summer, you'll know that I had great things to say about the 16E, which had Apple's first modem, the C1 chip. This has got the C1X chip, the next iteration of it, and it's even better. The call quality on this has been better than my Pro Max. When I make calls from the same location to the same person, it is better on this phone. There's been less dropouts, and it's a better clarity of call as well, better. Everything about it is just better. And of course, as we know, it also has really good battery efficiency ratings as well. So the move that Apple are making towards their own modems, I think, is really important.
And I'm at my destination, I think, at least. So 2.5 hours, 2 hours 20, and it's at 72%. So we've used 20% in 2 hours. The rest of the day's ahead of us, but that's the journey done.
There you go, our point of destination, and this is the Touchwood Centre Apple Store that I've just driven to, and give you an idea of what it's like using the main camera with the dual record function, the dual capture function. I am using the AirPods Pro on this trip as well, AirPods Pro 3, so the audio that you're hearing is using the new AirPods. I realised before I left now that I should have changed tips, but they're not with me anymore. I'll do that when I get back. But anyway, more than anything, it's just give you an idea of record quality using the iPhone Air's main camera and the dual record function. I'm going to go and take a look inside the store now. If I'm allowed to record there, I will do. Something else you've been asking about is the speaker quality. Now, I was staying at an Airbnb when I was making this video, so I was using it in the apartment last night, and this morning I used it in the shower room. And that's kind of where I guess a lot of people use it. Now look, physics is always going to rule when it comes to speakers. You need space and you need air. There's not as much space and air in this as it is in the Pro Max. So the speaker doesn't sound as bassy. It hasn't got as much clarity to it. It hasn't got as much depth and presence to it. No, but it is still a good speaker. Now, most of the time, I'll be using AirPods when I use this phone, to be honest. So the single speaker isn't a huge issue. Yes, if you want to watch your Instagram on it or listen to some music, as I say, in the shower room, it is perfectly good. I've got a bit of an audio background and it didn't offend me. It's usable. It's honestly usable. And I would say, I would have thought most of the time we use our phone with AirPods of some kind anyway. So the single speaker, to me, hasn't been a big issue. Apple also made quite a thing about the anti-reflective coating at the event as well. And as you can see, if I show you the iPhone Air up against last year's 16 Pro Max that I've been using, there is an improvement. Whether it's as good as Samsung's quality when it comes to the anti-reflective coating, possibly not. Maybe they've still got the edge. But what it shows is that Apple is listening to us, and they're trying to improve on the things they know they've fallen behind on, and the things they know to improve. This is what I've been calling the signs of the new Apple. They are clearly listening, and they know what we want from them.
So about 4 hours after we set off, down to 56%, which I think is kind of par for the course what I expected, considering it has done a lot. It's a lot of screen on time. I'll check out screen on time in a little bit for you. But more concerning is the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I think that's about the same battery, and that's been switched off most of the time, which is a bit of a concern.
So we've covered the speaker. Let's now begin getting into the nuts and bolts and talk about one of the two areas that you're really keen to know about, and that is the camera. First of all, let's just point out that the selfie camera on here, it represents the first major step forward in a selfie camera in years. Now, I know they're not the first to put a square sensor on a phone. I covered that in last week's video. But they brought it onto this current range of phones, which is important. They popularised it again. They've given it that Apple-esque feeling. And mark my words, Google and Samsung will be following. The 24 megapixel square sensor on the front of this phone is so good. Now, I haven't been with a group of 4 people or more to see how it works with automatically switching into landscape or portrait orientations. But certainly, even when I've been using myself, being able to switch between those orientations is super handy as a solo creator. It's really good. And so is that dual record. I've loved using that, as you've seen through the clips I'm throwing through this video.
So after what seems like a very long day, I am here 8 hours later and 22% left, which I don't think is bad. You can see it's been a very heavy use day, much heavier use than normal. I've been taking loads of photos, loads of videos, a load of which you'll have seen through the course of the video. And I've used it for absolutely everything all day long. I've used it for sat-nav, listen to podcasts, listen to music. anything I bought or purchased, all of that, and all the photos and videos, and 8 hours and 22% left, I think it's pretty decent. You saw it's a heavy day, 77% higher than normal. I've just looked at the iPhone Pro Max that I'm recording this with, and that's at 45%. That really hasn't done much at all today. So I think that is a reasonable shout. It's giving you an idea of what the iPhone Air is like on a heavy day's usage. So it's been out all day long. 8 hours, is that reasonable kind of usage, do you think?
So the fact that Apple has upgraded, and again, it shows that they're innovating. It gets back to what I was saying before, that Apple have come through their dark days and they are giving us what we want. But there is an issue, because we're being, I said there was a design issue I'd come across, and that is because we're being almost forced into using the phone more and more in a portrait mode, the thumb falls into a natural position. The camera control button falls exactly where you want it to, where your thumb rests. But because there is no other edge, there's no thickness to this phone, the camera control button is the thickness of the phone. I found that I kept launching it by mistake yesterday when I wasn't ready to use it. There's nowhere natural for the thumb to rest. I don't know how they get around that. It is in the right position, but certainly on the Air, because there's no other body to it, it just calls me a user problem. It's one of those things, again, it's not until you get hands-on with it and try to use it, you'll kind of see what I mean about it. Now, of course, everyone's going to talk about the fact that there's only a single camera on here. There's no telephoto camera. Only you will know how much you use a telephoto camera and how much you shoot with it. Personally, I don't shoot with it an awful lot. I use the 24, 28 and 35mm camera virtually all of the time. I hardly ever use it. Now, if you're the sort of person that uses a telephoto lens a lot, clearly that's a consideration you're going to have to make. But as you can see from the photos I've been shooting here with the 1X and 2X, you get great photos. This is the kind of phone that you forget in your pocket. And trust me, you do forget it's in your pocket when you're carrying it around all day. I did yesterday. I have to keep checking and patting my pocket to find it was there. You think you've left it behind. It's so slim, it's so light. But it's the kind of camera you're going to pull out, use, and get good results. And it's like the speaker. It's not necessarily about quantity. It's about quality. And Apple's 48 megapixel fusion camera setup you've got on here, even in low light. A lot of you are asking what's in low light. I was out late last night shooting for you, and you can see from the pictures here, it gave great results. Yes, there was a little bit of lens flare now and again, but you can forgive that. This is the kind of camera you want to capture moments with. It's not a pro level camera, and it's not trying to be either. I know there have been some concerns from what I've seen online and reading some of your comments about what the low light photography would be like on the iPhone Air. To be honest, although the lighting isn't, well, it's actually pretty good for the time of night. It's about 11 o'clock at night. You can see that the phone, I think, I won't know until I look it back, is actually handling it pretty well. Now, I mentioned a moment ago, I am recording the audio of this using AirPods Pro 3. And I made a mistake of putting the wrong, or not changing the tips when I got them out of the box. When I get back to the studio, we'll change the tips, which will stop me fiddling with them. I know this is not a full review by any stretch of imagination, but I know they said that there was no real design changes to them. That's wrong. The case feels slimmer somehow. It feels different. I don't know why. Although, apart from mine having been Lightning and this is now USB-C, it is the same, but it feels different. But it's the AirPods themselves. They're more angular. And the moment you pick them up, they feel grippier. There's a different shape to them slightly, and when you put them in the ear, although there's no difference in the audio quality, the ANC is definitely improved. Those foam tips have done something. I was working this morning getting this video ready to record, and I was in a very loud cafe, and using these cut out really loud music in the cafe without blasting my music out at all. The ANC is definitely improved, so I'll be tempted to agree with what Apple is saying, that there is definitely an improvement in what they've done. I've been hugely impressed by them. Hopefully, the quality of the audio you're hearing on this video, fingers crossed, because it's a one and done. I can't really shoot this. Hopefully, it's okay. So the AirPods 3, again, there is some small improvements in there that might be worth you looking at. They've impressed me so far from what I've used them for. Now, on to the battery. Cameras I'm happy enough with. Let's talk about the battery, shall we? I set off at 11 o'clock yesterday morning, as you saw. I finally finished recording at, as you've just seen, around about 7 o'clock in the evening. So that was 8 hours, and that was 8 hard hours. 8 hard hours of using the phone. In the car, I was using it for navigation. I was using it for streaming music and podcasts. When I got out of the car, I was using it for navigation around Birmingham. I was shooting video and photos on it all day long. You can see from the data there, it was a much heavier day than normal, about 75% heavier than I would normally use a phone. I got 4 hours of screen on time, and after 8 hours, I still had 22% of battery left. I think that's pretty good. Now, don't forget, this is the first few days of me using this phone. It's still going through its cycle of learning me and learning how I use it and learning what I need from the phone. I think it's done a remarkably good job. I think it's only going to get better. So when I said at the beginning of the video, is this phone just style over substance? No, it's actually performed. It performed really well for me yesterday. I had this fear that going off in the car yesterday morning, I was going to run out halfway up the motorway to Birmingham. But I didn't. It performed, it overperformed how I thought it would. It did its job remarkably well. And if it's done that well, straight off the bat, I think there's only good signs for the future. Now, I don't know who this phone or what phone I would really compare this to. Oddly, it might be the iPhone 16e. I know that sounds odd, but if you'd like to see me compare the iPhone Air to the 16e, I can't think of where else it sits. And maybe that's why I haven't called it an iPhone 17. Maybe that's why it isn't Air. It's not supposed to be compared to one of the other phones. I can't see where it sits, but the most logical competitor to me probably would be the 16e, which is also £400 cheaper. So if you'd like to see me make that video, let me know. Now, who's this phone for? If you're the sort of person that wants great pictures, good quality, not pro quality necessarily, but good pictures with a phone that you barely know is with you, it's so light. And also, if you're the sort of person that loves beautiful design, if you like great jewelry, if you just like beautiful things, this phone will refute everybody that has seen this phone, touched this phone, held this phone, has fallen in love with it without exception. It has got a wow factor to it. And every time I've picked it up, and I said early on, I picked this up more than the 17 Pro Max. There's something really special. You feel you've got something premium in your hand. It's Apple doing what Apple do best. There's something gorgeous about this phone. It's not trying to be what it's not. And I love the fact that Apple have gone back to just making a phone just because. It's not meant to be for everybody. It is a niche phone. But Apple used to do that in the past, and they've given it to us here again now. They've made something just to be enjoyed for what it is. It's not trying to be something it's not. And over what I've seen over the first few days of using it, it has definitely impressed me. So if you're the kind of person that loves style, loves beauty, and loves something that's functional and barely know that it's with you all day long, then this phone could very well be for you. If you enjoyed this video and the content I'm making, obviously subscribing really does help me out more than I can possibly tell you. I know the last video did really well for subs, so hopefully enjoying the content I'm making. There's plenty more to come. I'm going to be making content about the 17 Pro Max, probably for next week as well. So if that interests you, make sure to get subscribed. And if you have enjoyed me talking about the iPhone Air, I nearly said 17 Air. If you've enjoyed me talking about the iPhone Air in this video, there's a video for you to watch now where I talk about the iPhone 17 and why I think that is possibly the best value phone you can buy from Apple's lineup this year.